Students, welcome to the subject software engineering. Today's topic is data design and software architecture. So first we'll consider topic software architecture. What is an architecture? With reference to building, all of us know what is an architecture. So as far as building is concerned, number one, it is the manner in which the various components of the building are integrated to form a cohesive whole. So, students, the way the building is constructed and all the components are integrated may be considered as an architecture. Or number two, it is the way in which the building fits into its environment and meshes with other buildings in the vicinity. Point number three, it is the degree to which building meets its stated purpose and satisfies the needs of its owner. So architecture is beyond the building. Also, you can note that if the building looks good amongst the other buildings, we say architecture is good. Also, it should meet the stated purpose for which it is built, and also it should satisfy the needs of the user. Now, the software architecture of a program, that is what we should study. Okay, so software architecture of a program or computing system is the structure or structures of the system which comprise software components, the externally visible properties of those components, and the relationships among them. Students, speaking about the software architecture, we should talk about various software components that a system comprises of, and also external properties amongst which, okay, amongst the components, and also how the various components are related to each other. Point number two, software must model the structure of a system and the manner in which data and the procedural components collaborate with one another. Students, when you talk about the software, we can say it is the set of programs as well as the data. So both how they interact with each other should be considered when you talk about software architecture. Point number three, architecture is a representation that enables the software engineer to analyze the effectiveness of the design in meeting its stated requirements. Second, consider architectural alternatives at a stage when making the design changes is still relatively easy, and reduce the risk associated with the construction of the software. Students, when you talk about the software architecture, okay, it should speak whether the stated objective is met or not, or whether there are alternatives, and we can think of other alternatives when the changes are small. Also, it should talk about the risk factor. Point number four, in the context of the architecture design, a software component can be as simple as a program module or object oriented class. So you can say about component can be anything. Okay, it can be program module or a small class. Students now will study why is architecture important. The three key reasons that architecture is important are: one, representation of software architecture are an enabler for communication between all parties, stakeholders interested in the development of the computer based system. So, students, once we got architecture ready, it will form the common base between all the parties who are interested in the software. Point number two, the architecture highlights early design decisions that will have profound impact on all software engineering work that follows. Students, once you have got architecture ready, you can imagine, okay, the design decisions and what will be its effects on overall software that is going to be built. Point number 3. Architecture constitutes a relatively small, inte- intellectually graspable model of how the system is structured and how its components work together. So, students' architecture will give overall idea about the software that is going to be built. Now, we'll go to next topic for the day is data design. Point number 1. The data design action translates data objects defined as part of the analysis model into data structure at the software component level and, when necessary, database architecture at application level. Students, data design speaks about the way the data is going to be stored and the way the data is going to be accessed and retrieved. So data design action translates the objects defined as a part of analysis model into a data structure at the software component level. Point number 2. The attributes that describe the object, the relationship between the data objects and their use within the program all influence the choice of the data structure. So choice of the data structure should be one studied one. It should consider various data objects and how they are going to be interacting within a program. Now we'll go to subtopic that is data design at architecture level. Point number 1. The business needs are complex and hence may need multiple databases. Sometimes information required may be derived by cross-functional query. Students, today we are living in dynamic world. Business needs are varying. So there is obvious that there are more than one databases. Also, when you go in for a query, there could be that you may have to refer one or more databases to get the answer. Point number 3. To solve these challenges, data mining and data warehouse may be required. Point number 4. A data warehouse is a separate data environment that is not directly integrated with day-to-day applications but encompasses all data used by the business. Students, single database is not good. Multiple databases are required, but when you want to handle multiple databases, you should think about the new concept that is data mining or data warehouse. But most suited is the data warehouse. So data warehouse is a separate database or environment which doesn't come into picture as far as day-to-day applications are concerned. Okay, but it will consider the complex queries. Now we'll go to data design at component level. Data design at component level focuses on the representation of the data structures that are directly accessed by one or more software components. And number 2, in actuality, the design of the data begins during the creation of the analysis model. So students, the way you are going to design the data will be almost visible when you are going to have a analysis model itself. Point number 3, the requirement analysis and design overlap. Students, always when you go in for software development, no phase is watertight. That is, one phase may overlap the other phase. So also is the case with analysis and design phase. Now I'll study principles applicable to data design. Point number 1. So there are various principles you should consider when you are going to develop a data. Point number 1. The systematic analysis principles applied to a function and behavior should also be applied to data. So the way you are going to develop the function and behavior, in the same systematic manner you should design the data. Point number 2. All data structures and operations to be performed on each should be identified. Point number 3. Low level data design decisions should be deferred until late in the design process. Students, data structure and operations, okay, should be initially identified, and the low level design decision should be postponed till you complete the design process. Principle number 4: the representation of the data structure should be known only to those modules that must make direct use of the data contained within the structure. This is very important. That is, the data structures for the different modules should be known only for which it is required. So it is okay, very important. Point number 5: a library of useful data structures and the operations that may be applied to them should be developed. As well, you should have library of useful data structures so that it can help any program as far as database is concerned. Point number 6: a software design and programming language should support the specification and the realization of the abstract data type. So students, the software design and programming language should go hand in hand, okay, so that any abstract data type may be represented. Now, with this, we'll stop as far as today's topic is concerned. So, today we have considered two independent topics, that is the software architecture and second is data design. If you got anything, you can give me a call. Okay, please write this in your notebook. Thank you.